Hi everyone, it's Brittany from Create Your Future, and in today's video I am going to be sharing a personal story with you guys and then also a success story with one of my clients. So this is all going to be talking about fulfillment and why it is so important to understand fulfillment and what it means to you in terms of manifesting. So let me just get into the story and then we'll explain as we go along. So before I really understood manifesting, I knew about the law of attraction, but I really wasn't successfully implementing it into my life. So I had just left a terrible, toxic, abusive relationship. And when I left the relationship, I mean, to be honest, I was completely lost. I was happy to be out of the relationship, but truthfully speaking, I really didn't know who I was. I got into that relationship when I was a teenager and we were together for years and years and years. And I left the relationship and yeah, I didn't know who I was. My whole identity was tied around being in this relationship. And once I was, in a good place, I had started to date again. And when I was going on dates, I realized that I really didn't know who I was. And I remember one of the guys that I was out to dinner with asked me, what do you like to do for fun? What hobbies do you have? What's interesting to you? And I couldn't answer those questions. And I was so embarrassed. And, he was super nice. He was like, no, it's okay. But it made me realize, oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I like to do for fun. I don't know what's enjoyable to me. That had never been something that I thought about. I was always thinking about everybody else outside of me and in my relationships, what made this person happy. In my friendships, what made my friends happy. With my family, I was always trying to make my parents happy. And, I was just an all around a people pleaser, I guess you could say. And that was my identity. I didn't know anything different. And when I realized that, I started thinking I need to figure this out. I'm in my 20s and I have no idea who I am or what I like or what's fun to me, what's enjoyable, what do I not like? I didn't have those experiences. So what I did was I said, I'm going to stop dating right now. And truthfully, it was easy because not only was it not enjoyable to me, but I was meeting people who were even worse than the relationship that I had left. Controlling, just manipulative. I could see all of these things and I was just not interested in that. So I stopped dating for a little while and I made it a point to start figuring out what was fun, what was enjoyable to me, what was interesting to me. And at the time, I was working 2 jobs. I had 2 little kids and, I needed help from my family to babysit and just not a lot of time for myself, obviously. And I still wanted to figure this out for myself. So I said, okay, once a week, I am going to make it a priority for myself to do something that's enjoyable to me. And I want to try something different every time. So sometimes that would just mean I'm at home and the kids are at their dad's and I'm going to be reading a book without any distractions, and other times it would be I just worked 14 hours and I'm going home to pick my sister up and we're going to go out and get drinks. Like, you know, whatever it was in that moment, I would ask myself, what would make me feel good right now? What would make me happy? What will bring me some sort of peace or satisfaction to my life? And I would follow that. And the whole purpose of this was just to kind of figure out who I was, honestly. Figure out what things I had interest in. But what happened was amazing. So even though I wasn't dating, I wanted a relationship. That was something that I wanted in the future. And I was miserable working 2 jobs. I was not happy doing that. At some point, I wanted to leave those jobs and do something more substantial. So those were desires that I had, but I wasn't focusing on them. I wasn't really prioritizing them. I was just living moment by moment. And in doing that, in finding things that would satisfy me and fulfill me and bring me some sort of joy or happiness, not only did an amazing job opportunity literally fall in my lap, but a relationship came into my life. Not only was it a relationship, but a completely different relationship than I had ever experienced before. A very healthy relationship, a relationship where this person really saw my value and my worth and saw me as an individual and wanted to get to know who I was. So I wasn't focusing on these things. I wasn't thinking, oh, I have this goal in mind that I have to have this type of relationship or I have to have this job. Yes, they were desires, but the reason why they came into my experience in the way that they did was not because I was assuming that they were going to. It was because I was fulfilled. I was content. And yes, while I was working these jobs and struggling to pay for things and noticing that some of my other friends were in healthy, happy relationships and I wasn't, was I satisfied in those moments? No, I let myself feel, sad or lonely or, unsuccessful at times. But I always returned back to this content, at peace place where I was fulfilled and I was satisfied in the moment where I currently was. And because of that, my desires manifested. So I want you guys to understand how important this is. It's not about putting all of your focus and energy and attention on being the person that you want to be. Now, yes, I want you guys to decide that this is who you are. I want you to claim that identity for yourself. But after you do that, it's not required of you to continually remind yourself over and over again to continue to, be this person in specific ways. It's about understanding that the moment you have a desire, it is yours. And now that it's yours and it's done, you can go on about your life and live being satisfied and fulfilled and content. That is what's manifesting for you. So, all that being said, a lot of you guys will focus on your identity very heavily. And it's not that it's wrong. It's not that you can't do that, but you're focusing so much on this new identity. But really what you're doing is you're in a state of not having. You're in a state of, it's not here yet. I need to be this person so that I can have it. But while doing that, you're not satisfied. You're not content. You're not generally at peace or fulfilled. You're wanting, waiting, hoping, wishing, lacking. And you cannot experience satisfaction and fulfillment in the 3D while continually being in a state of lack and needing and wanting. So it doesn't have to be specific to your desires. It doesn't have to be, oh, I'm so satisfied and content in this relationship. It can be moment by moment. What can I do right now that is going to bring me satisfaction? What can I do right now that's going to bring me some happiness or some joy? What can I do right now to feel a sense of gratitude? These things, I think, aren't really talked about that much. And I know how important it is because of the experiences that I've had in my life. And again, not understanding the law of assumption at that point, this was really incredible to experience. And, you know, it wasn't because I was in this mindset of, I'm in a relationship, I have an amazing job. No, it wasn't that. Now, I knew that somehow, some way, everything would work itself out. But if it didn't, I was also okay with that because I was learning to fulfill myself. I was learning to make myself happy. And I know it sounds so cliche, guys, but that's the whole basis here. What you are, who you're being, is what you experience in the physical. So if you cannot fulfill yourself, how can you expect a fulfilling relationship, a fulfilling job, any of those things that you want to manifest? It's not going to work in the way that you think it is. So with that being said, I want to talk to you about this client that I have. So she was very, very exhausted with the law of assumption. And she had been wanting to manifest contact between her and her specific person. And they hadn't spoken in over 2 years. So she was really, you know, obviously just overwhelmed and tired and tired of not having it, tired of not having that contact, tired of not moving forward with her life. And we talked a lot about it, and she was just at a place where she didn't even want to think about this person anymore. She didn't even want to be reminded of this person anymore. She was so over it. And I told her, you don't have to focus on him if it doesn't feel good. And she was like, well, but how does that work? Because if I'm not focusing on him, if I'm not assuming the thing that I want, then how is he going to come back into my experience? Like, I thought the less that I thought about it, the more I was keeping it away from me. And guys, no, that's not true. That's not true. It's not about your focus thinking about this person or this job or whatever. It's about being. It's about being. So if you were in contact with this person, would you constantly be thinking about how you were in contact with this person? If you had your dream job, would you constantly be needing to remind yourself that you have your dream job? No, that's not normal. It's not normal. Once you have something, it's neutralized. I've talked to you guys about this before. Once you have the thing that you've desired, that feeling is neutralized. It's a normal thing for you in your life. Now, yes, can you be absolutely happy and excited and overjoyed? Of course you can, but you're not going to be there all the time. That's not normal. It's not normal. When you have something, you get used to having it. Don't care what it is. You get used to having it because it's a part of your identity. It's a part of who you are. It becomes normal to you. So no, it's not about the focus. It's about not choosing to fight against it. It's about letting things move and shift the way that they need to, while you continue to stay loyal to who you want to be. And that can also mean not thinking about this thing or this person or this job at all. It can be living moment by moment in fulfillment, choosing fulfillment when you can, reminding yourself that everything is already yours. You have everything that you have desired. It's all yours now. It's there. There's nothing for you to do to make it happen, but to accept it. And when you accept that you have these things, you're naturally in a fulfilled state. You're naturally at peace with things. So I talked to my client about this, and she was just like, to be honest, after this session, I was gonna give up if I didn't get anything from the session. And I am completely fine with taking the focus off of the thing. Like, I'm completely fine with that, because I was at a point where I was wanting to do that anyways. And I said, okay, good. So what she did was, instead of continually focusing on this relationship, she declared once and once only that this is who she is now. She is this person that is in this amazing relationship. And she accepted that. She didn't just say it to say it. She accepted that. And then from there, she did exactly what I suggested. She decided that whenever she had a moment of downtime, whenever she had a thought that, oh, it's not here, she would say, what can I do right now that's going to bring me some sort of satisfaction? And she would do it. And look, guys, sometimes it would be in the physical world, going to paint your nails, going to get a coffee, going for a car ride. But sometimes it would be internal. Sometimes it would be visualizing that, I'm living my best life. Sometimes it would be taking a nap. Sometimes it would be listening to music, having an inner conversation with my mom about how proud she is of me. These are the things that my client was doing. And guess what? I think you guys know what. But her SP reached out to her, and they are dating right now. So no, they're not at the point where they're in a committed relationship, but that's okay. It's going to naturally unfold the way that it needs to. And she's fine with that. But the whole thing here is 2 years, over 2 years of no contact, and her trying and doing all of the techniques, all of the different ways that she could somehow try to manipulate the 3D into showing her what she wanted. And never once just being in that state, being in that state of fulfillment. Never. She was never satisfied. Yes, she had little moments here and there of having fun with her friends or, doing things with her kids, but never a place of, look, I'm doing something right now for myself to allow me joy just because it feels good right now. She was never doing that. So it's so funny because I think a lot of you guys are so consumed with this specific outcome that you want that you don't go back to before you knew about manifesting. So when you had a relationship come into your experience, was it because you were telling yourself that you were in a relationship? I don't think so. I doubt it. It was probably because you were generally content with your life, generally satisfied and fulfilled. Now, that doesn't mean that you weren't wanting a relationship. That doesn't mean that you didn't have days where things were just blah and, you were unhappy, but you returned to this state of, everything's okay right now. Everything's good. Like, I'm at peace. I'm generally content. I'm satisfied. So That's why these experiences come into your reality. It's like your desires are not something that you have to pin down. The moment you have a desire, before you even finish realizing the desire, it's already answered. It's already yours. So I just used this example with my client yesterday, but it's like, think of a pinball machine. You know, when the pinball machine is all loaded up with all the balls in a row, and they're just sitting there waiting to be pushed through the little game. You're pulling a lever and they're flying through. So your desires are literally just sitting, waiting for you. You don't have to keep going back to them. You don't have to keep focusing on them and thinking about them if you don't want to. Now, if it feels good to you, yes, do it. But if it doesn't feel good to you, don't do that to yourself. You can go about it another way. You can get to fulfillment at another angle. So it's about who you're being, guys. And I know you hear me say this all the time, but are you being someone who's fulfilled? Or are you being someone that's waiting, wanting, hoping, wishing? Generally just being aware of lack. There's really only two options. You are either fulfilled or you're lacking. That's it. So choose fulfillment in every moment possible. Now, that means when you can. I know we have lives, we have jobs, we have families, we have friends, we have things going on. That's fine. When you're doing those things, you focus on those things. But when you have downtime, when you have a moment to acknowledge the lack of whatever it is that you want, go and choose fulfillment. Ask yourself, what can I do right now that will bring me some satisfaction, that will bring me happiness, that will bring me peace and joy and love and fulfillment? So I really, really hope that you guys understand where I'm coming from with this. I don't mean that you're not allowed to, imagine your end. I don't mean that you should just stop thinking about your desires if that feels good to you. But a lot of times we think we're living in the end. We think we're in the wish fulfilled, but really we're just looking at the lack of it. We're looking at the fact that we don't have it. And that's not the truth. That's an illusion. Everything that you could ever desire is yours, and it is here now. And when you start fulfilling yourself and you start choosing moment by moment to do things that will fulfill you, your 3D is going to reflect that. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. I am still gathering up the questions for the next questions and answers video. It's going to be next week. So please leave some questions in the comments and I will answer those for you. Have an amazing rest of your day, guys, and I will see you in the next video.